I'm Sarah, and I'm so happy to see you today. Thank you for joining me. Today, we have something very special. It is a long listening practice that will help you understand natural English better. So, please sit comfortably, take a deep breath, and relax. Make sure you are ready to listen carefully. You do not need to rush. Today, we will go slowly, step by step, so that you can follow easily. Before we begin, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever felt nervous when listening to English? Maybe when someone talks very fast, or you hear new words that you do not know. Don't worry. This is very normal. Almost everyone feels like that. Even people who live in English-speaking countries sometimes feel this way when they listen to a new story or a new speaker. So if you feel nervous, just smile and remember, listening is a skill, and like any skill, it becomes better with practice. In today's session, we will do more than just listen. We will hear a story, and then we will talk about it together. I will explain new words and expressions slowly. Then, you will get a chance to practice repeating sentences after me. This is called shadowing. Shadowing is a very useful way to improve your listening and speaking at the same time. It may feel a little strange at first, but it works really well. Today's story is about my real life. It is about the time I tried to make new friends while learning English. You will hear real conversations, real feelings, and everyday words that you can use too. So, imagine you are sitting with me, and we are talking like friends. This is not a test. There is no pressure. You just need to listen, repeat, and enjoy. Okay, let's begin slowly. I remember the day clearly. It was a sunny morning. I woke up, made some tea, and sat by the window. The sky was blue, and birds were singing. I thought, today is a good day to go out and practice English. You see, I wanted to improve my listening and speaking skills. I knew that listening in real life is different from listening in a classroom. Real people speak fast, and they use words that are not in books. So, I decided to go to a small cafe near my house, a place where many people come to talk and relax. When I arrived at the cafe, I saw some people sitting with friends, laughing and drinking coffee. The smell of fresh bread and coffee was everywhere. I found a small table by the corner, sat down, and looked around. My heart beat a little faster because I was thinking, I hope I can understand the conversations here. I hope I can talk if someone speaks to me. After a few minutes, a woman came to my table. She smiled and asked, "Hi, is this seat free?" I said, "Yes, of course." She sat down. I noticed that she spoke very clearly, but still fast enough that I needed to pay attention. She introduced herself as Anna. I said, "Hi, Anna, I'm Sarah." She smiled again and said, "Nice to meet you, Sarah. Are you learning English?" I said, "Yes, I am." And that is how our conversation started. I felt a little nervous, but I remembered something important. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to ask someone to repeat a word. That is part of learning. I said, "Sometimes I don't understand everything, but I try to listen carefully." Anna nodded and said, "That's good. Listening is very important. Don't worry, just relax." Friends, this is a very important lesson for you today. When you listen to English, never feel bad if you do not understand everything. Just try your best. Focus on the words you know, the words you can understand, and the meaning of the conversation. Even if you only understand 50%, that is already very good. Understanding a little at a time is how we improve step by step. After Anna and I talked for a few minutes, she asked me a simple question. Sarah, what do you like to do in your free time? I smiled because this was an easy question. I said, I like reading books, listening to English podcasts, and going for walks in the park. She said, Oh, that is nice. I like walking too. And I love reading books in English. Sometimes it is hard, but it is fun. See, friends, this is how a natural conversation happens. People talk about everyday things, like hobbies, the weather, or their day. You don't need complicated words. Simple words are enough. And if you speak slowly and clearly, people will understand you. After a few minutes, I realized something. I could understand more than I thought. At first, I felt nervous, but now I was feeling confident. Listening carefully, focusing on keywords, and repeating sentences in my mind really helped. Even when a word was new, I tried to guess the meaning from the sentence. Guessing is a very useful skill in listening. You do not need to know every word. Just try to understand the main idea. Friends, now I want you to try something. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine you are at a cafe. You are sitting at a table and someone comes to talk to you. Listen to their words carefully. Try to understand what they are saying. If you hear a word you do not know, do not worry. Just smile and keep listening. This is exactly what we are going to practice today. Before we move to the story part, I want to give you a small tip. When you listen to English, it is very helpful to pay attention to the small words too, like yes, no, please, thank you, okay, and really. These small words appear everywhere, and they're very useful in understanding the conversation. Also, notice the tone of voice. Is the speaker happy, sad, curious, or surprised? Tone is very important in real-life English. It tells you the feelings of a person. Now, friends, let's get ready. In the next part, I will tell you the main story of my day at the cafe. You will hear natural English, just like in real life. I will speak slowly, clearly, and repeat important words so you can follow. Remember to relax, enjoy, and imagine the story in your mind. Visualizing the story will make it easier to understand and remember new words. So take a deep breath and let's begin the first part of our listening story. Imagine the sunlight on your face, the smell of coffee, and the soft sound of people talking around you. I will start the story, and you just listen carefully. Last week, I woke up early. The sky was blue, and the sun was shining. I made a cup of tea and sat by the window. I thought about my plan for the day. I wanted to go to the cafe near my house. It was a small, quiet place. I thought, I will try to talk to people in English today. I will listen carefully and repeat sentences in my mind. After drinking my tea, I put on my coat and walked to the cafe. The street was busy. Cars were moving slowly. People were walking fast. Some were talking on their phones, some were smiling, some looked worried. I walked slowly, trying to notice everything. When I reached the cafe, I saw people sitting in small groups. Some were laughing, some were reading books, some were drinking coffee and talking quietly. I felt a little nervous. I remembered my English lesson. Focus on the words you know. Listen carefully. Don't worry about mistakes. I found a small table in the corner and sat down. I looked around, trying to hear the conversations without interrupting. After a few minutes, Anna came. She smiled and asked if she could sit. I said yes, And that is how our conversation began. We talked about simple things, hobbies, favorite books, and our day. I listened carefully, repeated sentences in my mind, and tried to understand the meaning. At first, I missed some words, but slowly I understood more. This made me feel happy and confident. Friends, can you feel the excitement? Listening to real English is like a small adventure. You never know what words you will hear, what new things you will learn, or what questions will come. That is why it is fun and useful. And don't forget, even if you do not understand everything, just listening is already helping your brain to get used to English sounds. Now, let's pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and repeat after me in your mind. I can listen. I can understand. I will improve step by step. Good. Keep saying this in your mind every day. It will help you feel confident while listening. I'm so glad you stayed with me. If you are ready, let's continue the story. Remember, this is a slow, easy English listening practice. Listen carefully, imagine the scene, and repeat words or sentences in your mind. After Anna sat down at my table, we continued talking. She smiled warmly and said, "So, Sarah, do you come to this cafe often?" I thought for a moment and said, "Not really. This is my first time. I wanted to practice English with real people." She laughed gently and said, "Oh, that is great. Don't worry. I will help you. You can ask me if you don't understand something." Friends, notice what Anna said. Don't worry. I will help you. This is a very common phrase in English. You can use it when you want to comfort someone. Repeat after me. Don't worry. I will help you. Good. Again, don't worry. I will help you. Excellent. Then Anna asked me about my favorite books. I said, I like adventure stories and simple English books. I also enjoy listening to English podcasts. She nodded and said, podcasts are very helpful. Listening every day is the best way to improve. Friends, listen carefully to that sentence. Listening every day is the best way to improve. Let's say it slowly together. Listening every day is the best way to improve. Good. Repeat one more time. Listening every day is the best way to improve. Perfect. As we talked, a waiter came to our table. He asked politely, "Hello, can I take your order?" I smiled and said, "Yes, please. I would like a cup of coffee and a croissant." Anna said, "I will have tea, please." The waiter nodded and said, "Sure. I'll bring it in a few minutes." Friends, here is another useful phrase. Can I take your order? This is what waiters often ask in cafes or restaurants. Repeat after me. Can I take your order? Very good. Another one. I would like. This is a polite way to say what you want. For example, I would like a coffee, or I would like a sandwich. Try saying it slowly. I would like. Excellent. While waiting for our drinks, Anna and I talked more. She asked, "Sarah, why do you want to learn English?" I said, "I want to travel, meet new people, and understand movies and songs in English. Also, I want to feel confident when talking to native speakers." She smiled and said, "That is wonderful. Confidence is very important. Don't be afraid to make mistakes." Friends, listen to that sentence. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. This is very useful. In English learning, mistakes are normal. Repeat slowly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Again, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Good job.
Then Anna asked me a small question. Sarah, what is your favorite part of the day? I thought for a moment and said, I like the morning. It is quiet, and I can drink tea and think about my plans. She nodded and said, I like mornings too. The morning is calm, and it feels peaceful. Friends, notice the word peaceful. It means calm, quiet, and nice. Repeat after me. Peaceful.
Good.
Again, peaceful. Excellent. You can use this word when you describe a calm place or time. For example, the park is peaceful, or I feel peaceful in the morning. After a few minutes, our drinks arrived. The waiter placed the coffee, tea, and croissant on the table. I said, thank you. And Anna said, thank you too. We took a small pause and started eating. While eating, we continued talking. Anna asked me about my friends. I said, I have a few friends. We meet sometimes, but I want to make more friends who speak English. She smiled and said, that is good. Meeting people and talking every day is the best way to improve your English. Friends, listen carefully. Meeting people and talking every day is the best way to improve your English. Let's repeat slowly together. Meeting people and talking every day is the best way to improve your English.
Good.
One more time. Meeting people and talking every day is the best way to improve your English.
Perfect.
Now, let's do a small listening practice. I will repeat a short part of our conversation, and you try to understand and answer a question. Ready? Anna said, don't worry. I will help you. You can ask me if you don't understand something. Question. Who will help Sarah? Think for a moment. Yes. Anna will help Sarah. Next one, I said, I would like a cup of coffee and a croissant. Question. What did I order? Think, yes. A cup of coffee and a croissant. One more. Anna said, confidence is very important. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Question. What is important according to Anna? Think, yes. Confidence is important. Friends, see how simple it is? Just listen carefully, focus on keywords, and you can understand. Don't worry if you do not get everything. Small understanding is very useful. While we talked, I noticed something important. Listening is not only about words. It is also about expressions, tone, and pauses. When Anna smiled and said, don't be afraid to make mistakes, I could feel that she was kind and encouraging. In real life, people show their feelings through words and tone. This is why listening slowly and carefully is very important. Friends, now I want you to repeat after me a few sentences from this section. Repeat slowly, clearly, and with your voice if you can. Don't worry. I will help you. I would like a cup of coffee and a croissant. Listening every day is the best way to improve. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Meeting people and talking every day is the best way to improve your English. Good. Very well done. Keep repeating these sentences every day. They are useful in many situations. After our drinks, we continued talking about hobbies. I said, I like reading books, listening to music, and walking in the park. She said, I like music too. What kind of music do you like? I said, I like calm and happy songs. Sometimes I listen to English songs to practice listening. She nodded and smiled. That is very helpful. Listening to songs is fun and useful. You can also learn new words. Friends, notice the word calm. It means peaceful and quiet. Repeat after me. Calm. Very good. Another useful phrase. That is very helpful. This means something is useful and good. Repeat. That is very helpful. Excellent. We also talked about movies. Anna asked, "Do you like movies in English?" I said, "Yes, I do. Sometimes I watch with subtitles, sometimes without." She smiled and said, "Watching movies is a fun way to learn. Subtitles are helpful at the beginning, but try to listen without them sometimes." Friends, here is a new phrase, subtitles. Subtitles are the words you see at the bottom of a movie or video. They show what people are saying. Repeat slowly, subtitles. Good. Again, subtitles. Excellent. Before we end this section, let's do one more listening practice. I will say a short sentence and you try to understand and answer. I like calm and happy songs. Question: what kind of songs does Sarah like? Yes, calm and happy songs. Watching movies is a fun way to learn. Question: is watching movies useful for learning English? Yes, it is useful. Friends, you are doing very well. Listening practice is about patience and repetition. Every time you listen, your brain learns new words, new expressions, and new sounds. Keep practicing a little every day, and your English will improve step by step. I continued sitting at the cafe, sipping my tea, and listening to Anna talk about her day. She was telling me about her work and the small things she did in the morning. At first, I tried to catch every single word, but then I realized that it is not necessary to understand every word. The main idea is enough. She said something like, "This morning I woke up late, but I still managed to go for a short walk before work." I focused on the words woke up late and short walk and understood the main idea. Friends, in real English, people speak fast, and some words are new. The trick is to catch the main idea, not every word. I smiled and nodded, saying, "Oh, I see. That sounds nice." Anna smiled too, and we laughed a little about her busy morning. Then she asked me, "Sarah, have you ever tried listening to English radio?" I said, "Yes, sometimes, but I find it a little difficult because people speak very fast." She nodded and said, "Yes, radio is fast, but it is very good for listening practice. You will get used to it little by little." Friends, notice the words little by little. It means step by step, slowly. Repeat in your mind, little by little. When we practice listening every day, we improve little by little. Then I told her about my favorite podcasts and how I try to listen every morning while having tea. Anna smiled and said, "That is excellent. Listening every day is the key. Even 10 minutes a day helps a lot." Friends, this is important. Just a few minutes every day will help your ears get used to English sounds. You don't need to listen for hours at first. Small practice is enough to start. While we talked, another small misunderstanding happened. Anna said, "I sometimes watch cooking shows on TV. They are so fun." I thought she said cooking shoes, and I laughed quietly. Anna laughed too and said, "Shoes?"
No, shows.
Cooking shows are videos about cooking. Friends, this is normal. Mistakes happen when we listen. Don't feel bad. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. I said, ah, cooking shows, yes. I understand now. Anna smiled and said, no problem. We all make mistakes. After that, we talked about our hobbies again. I told her I like walking in the park, listening to music, and reading simple books. She said she likes reading too, and sometimes listens to English songs. We laughed about our favorite songs and tried singing a few lines quietly. Listening to songs is fun, and it also helps with English rhythm and pronunciation. Then Anna asked, Sarah, do you ever speak English with your friends? I said, sometimes, but I feel nervous. She smiled gently and said, that is normal. Everyone feels nervous, but speaking is very important. You will improve if you try. Friends, notice the word important. It means very useful or necessary. Repeat in your mind, important. Speaking is important because practice makes your English better. After that, our conversation moved to simple daily routines. She asked what I usually eat for breakfast, what I do in the morning, and how I spend my free time. I answered slowly, and she smiled and encouraged me. Every time I repeated a sentence in my mind, I felt a little more confident. This is how listening and speaking grow together. Then Anna said something that I really liked. When you listen carefully and try, your brain remembers words faster. Friends, this is very true. Repetition and attention help you remember English words. You don't need to memorize everything. Just listening, repeating, and practicing little by little is enough. While we were talking, I noticed that my understanding was improving. I could catch more words, understand expressions, and even guess the meaning of new words. Guessing meaning from context is a very useful skill. For example, when Anna said, the weather is pleasant today, I did not know pleasant, but from her smile and tone, I guessed it means nice or good. Friends, guessing meaning is okay. It helps you understand real English without stopping every time you hear a new word. Then we did a small listening and comprehension exercise. Anna asked, do you like adventure stories? I answered confidently, yes, I like adventure stories. Then she asked, do you listen to English songs? I said, yes, sometimes. She nodded and smiled. Each time I answered, I repeated the sentences in my mind, practicing both listening and speaking. After a while, I realized that listening is like a game. You hear words, understand some, guess others, repeat them, and gradually your brain learns. Friends, notice that it is important to stay calm, enjoy the conversation, and not worry about missing words. Even if you only understand 50%, your listening is improving. Before we end this part of the story, I want you to imagine yourself in the cafe again. Imagine sipping tea, listening to someone speak slowly and clearly, and trying to catch the main idea. Repeat phrases in your mind, smile at small mistakes, and feel confident. Each listening session helps your brain remember English words, expressions, and tone. Take a deep breath and remember, little by little, step by step, your listening is getting better. I continued sitting with Anna at the cafe, feeling more relaxed and confident than before. We talked about simple things like our mornings, our hobbies, and our favorite foods. I realized that when I focused on the main idea, I could understand much more than I thought. Anna was very kind and patient, and she gave me time to think and answer. She said, Sarah, you're doing very well. Listening is the first step, and speaking comes next. Friends, notice the phrase doing very well. It is a very common way to encourage someone. Repeat it slowly in your mind. Doing very well. You can use it when someone is learning, trying something new, or doing a task. I smiled and said thank you, feeling a little more confident. Then she asked me about my favorite places in the city. I said, I like the park because it is peaceful, the library because it is quiet, and small cafes like this one. She nodded and said, yes, peaceful and quiet places are the best for thinking and relaxing. Friends, notice the words peaceful and quiet. Peaceful means calm and nice, and quiet means there is little noise. Repeat slowly in your mind, peaceful, quiet. When you describe a place where you can relax or read, you can use these words. We continued talking about our hobbies, and Anna asked, do you ever write in English? I said, yes, sometimes I write short sentences or diary entries. It helps me remember new words. She smiled and said, writing is very helpful. When you write, your brain remembers words better. Friends, this is important. Listening, speaking, and writing work together to improve your English. Repeat slowly in your mind. Listening, speaking, writing. All three are important for learning English. After a while, the waiter brought our second round of drinks. I ordered tea, and Anna ordered coffee. We took small sips and continued talking. She asked, Sarah, what do you usually do after breakfast? I said, I usually read a little, listen to podcasts, and sometimes go for a walk. She nodded and said, that is a good routine. Listening a little every day helps a lot. Friends, notice the word routine. It means something you do regularly every day. Repeat slowly, routine. One more time, routine. You can say, my morning routine is simple, or I like to have a reading routine every day. As we talked, I noticed that my listening was improving. I could catch more words, even when Anna spoke a little faster. She told me a small story about her friend, who is learning English too. She said, my friend often feels nervous, but listening every day helps her a lot. I remembered what she said earlier. Nervous means feeling a little afraid or worried. Repeat slowly, nervous. One more time, nervous. It is okay to feel nervous when speaking or listening in a new language. Then Anna asked me a fun question. Sarah, if you could travel anywhere, where would you go? I smiled and said, I would like to visit London and New York. I want to practice English and see the cities. She laughed and said, that is very exciting. Traveling is a good way to learn English and meet new people. Friends, notice the word exciting. It means something fun, interesting, or makes you happy. Repeat slowly. Exciting. Again, exciting. You can say, this movie is exciting, or meeting new friends is exciting. After that, Anna and I started a small listening game. She said a short sentence, and I tried to repeat it exactly. She said, I enjoy walking in the park in the morning. I repeated slowly, I enjoy walking in the park in the morning. Then she said, listening every day is the best way to improve your English. I repeated, listening every day is the best way to improve your English. Friends, this is called shadowing. Repeating after a speaker helps your brain remember the words, the rhythm, and the tone. Try to do this every day, even for a few minutes. While we practiced, another small challenge happened. Anna said something quickly. Sometimes I listen to podcasts while cooking, and it helps me learn new words faster. At first, I did not understand the whole sentence. I focused on the words I knew. Listen, podcasts helps learn words. From this, I guessed the main idea. Listening to podcasts helps her learn English. Friends, this is a very useful skill. You don't need to know every word. Guessing meaning from context is how people understand real English. Then Anna smiled and said, "Yes, that is right. You understood perfectly." I felt proud and repeated the sentence slowly in my mind. Sometimes I listen to podcasts while cooking, and it helps me learn new words faster. After that, Anna asked me some comprehension questions to test my understanding. She said, "Sarah, why does my friend listen to podcasts while cooking?" I thought for a moment and said, "Because it helps her learn new words." She nodded and smiled. Then she asked, "Did you understand every word in English conversations?" I said, "No. Sometimes I only understand the main idea." She said, "Exactly. That is normal. Understanding the main idea is enough at first." Friends, notice the phrase main idea. It means the most important point or message. Repeat slowly. Main idea. One more time. Main idea. Always try to catch the main idea when you listen. After practicing a few more sentences, Anna asked me, "Sarah, what is the most important thing for learning English?" I thought carefully and said, "Listening every day, practicing, and not being afraid of mistakes." She smiled and said, "Perfect. That is exactly right." Friends, this is a very important lesson. Listening every day, practicing often, and staying confident are the keys to improving your English. After our listening practice, we talked a little more about daily life. I told her about my plans for the week, the small things I wanted to do, and the books I plan to read. She shared her weekend plans too. Friends, notice that everyday conversation is full of simple words, but it is very useful for learning English. Listening to stories about normal life helps you learn words, expressions, and tone. Before we left the cafe, Anna said something encouraging. "Remember, Sarah, listening is a skill. You will improve little by little every day. Be patient and enjoy the process." Friends, notice the words little by little.
They mean slowly, step by step.
Repeat slowly, little by little. One more time, little by little. This is how English learning works. Step by step, with practice, you get better and better. I smiled, thanked Anna for her help, and left the cafe feeling confident. I realized that listening every day, repeating sentences, and paying attention to main ideas is a simple but very powerful way to improve English. Friends, now close your eyes and imagine yourself listening carefully to someone speak English. Focus on the main idea. Repeat sentences slowly in your mind and enjoy the learning. Every small step counts, and every minute of listening helps your brain grow. After leaving the cafe for a short walk, I felt happy and more confident. The morning air was fresh, and I thought about everything I had learned while talking to Anna. I realized that listening carefully, repeating sentences, and focusing on the main idea had already helped me a lot. As I walked through the park nearby, I noticed children playing, people jogging, and birds singing. Everything felt peaceful and calm. While walking, I remembered something Anna had said at the cafe. Don't worry about mistakes. Listening every day is the key. I repeated this in my mind a few times, and it made me feel calm. Friends, notice the word calm. It means peaceful, relaxed, and quiet. Repeat slowly in your mind. Calm. One more time, calm. You can use this word when you feel relaxed or when describing a peaceful place. While walking, I heard someone speaking English nearby. A man was sitting on a bench, reading a book, and occasionally speaking softly to himself. I tried to listen carefully. He said, I always enjoy reading in the morning. It feels so good. I focused on the words I knew. Enjoy, reading, morning, good. From this, I guessed the main idea. He likes reading in the morning. Friends, this is exactly what I told you before. Even if you do not understand every word, focusing on the main idea is enough. I smiled and repeated the sentence slowly in my mind. I always enjoy reading in the morning. It feels so good. Then I practiced saying it out loud slowly, like shadowing. I always enjoy reading in the morning. It feels so good. This small practice helped me feel more confident about speaking. After a while, I met a friend who was learning English too. She greeted me. Hi, Sarah. How are you today? I said, Hi, I'm good. Thank you. How are you? She said, I'm fine. I heard you were at the cafe practicing English. How did it go? I smiled and said, It was great. I learned new words, phrases, and practiced listening and speaking. She asked, Did you make any mistakes? I laughed and said, Yes. I said, adverse stories instead of adventure stories, but Anna corrected me. Friends, this shows you that mistakes are normal. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. Repeat slowly in your mind. Mistakes are normal. One more time. Mistakes are normal. It is very important to remember this when learning English. Then my friend asked me a small challenge question. Sarah, what is the difference between adverse and adventure? I thought carefully and said, adverse means something bad or difficult, and adventure means something exciting or fun. She smiled and said, Exactly. Very good. Friends, notice how I focused on the meaning. When you hear a new word, it is useful to remember the main meaning first. You don't need to memorize everything. Then we walked together a little more. I tried to listen to conversations around me. Some people spoke fast, and at first I missed some words. I reminded myself of Anna's advice. Focus on the main idea and guess new words from context. This helped a lot. I noticed someone saying, I need to finish this project before lunch. Even though I didn't know every word perfectly, I understood that the person wanted to finish work before lunchtime. Friends, this is a very useful skill. Always try to guess the meaning from the words you know. It makes listening much easier. After a few minutes, we sat on a bench and continued practicing together. My friend said, Let's do a shadowing exercise. I will say a sentence, and you repeat after me slowly. I agreed. She said, Listening every day improves your English step by step. I repeated slowly. Listening every day improves your English step by step. She smiled and said, Good. Now try this one. Mistakes help you learn and remember new words. I repeated slowly. Mistakes help you learn and remember new words. Friends, shadowing is very helpful. It trains your brain, your ears, and your mouth to remember words and phrases naturally. Then my friend told me a short story. She said, "Yesterday, I went to the library. I met a new person there, and I tried to talk in English. I was nervous at first, but I kept trying. I listened carefully and focused on the words I knew. Library, new person, talk, nervous, trying. From this, I understood the main idea. She met someone new and spoke in English, feeling nervous but trying. Friends, notice the word trying. It means making an effort. Repeat slowly, trying.
One more time, trying.
When learning English, keep trying every day, even if it feels difficult. Then my friend asked me, "Sarah, what did you learn from your cafe experience?" I said slowly, "I learned to focus on the main idea, repeat sentences, guess meanings, and not be afraid of mistakes." She smiled and said, "Perfect. That is the key to improving listening." Friends, notice the words focus, repeat, and guess.